Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another budget modern deck today. So today, obviously according to the title, we're going to be going over $50 modern mono green elves. So a couple things before we hop into it here. As always, a reminder, the deck list is in the description below. If you'd like to check out the deck list, maybe purchase it for yourself, which is great. The second thing is if there's any decks that you'd like to see in an upcoming video, let me know in the comment section below and I can go ahead and throw something together, whether or not you want it to be a budget deck or a not budget deck, Pioneer, Modern, that kind of thing. Just let me know in the description, well, not the description below, but in the comments below. So we're going to hop into it here, and obviously, as always, we got to start with our 1-drops, and we all know that Elves has a lot of 1-drops. So, our 1-drops, we have 4 Llanowar Elves, 4 Elvish Mystic, and 4 Nettle Sentinel. So, Llanowar and Elvish Mystic are the same thing. It's a 1/1 for 1 green, that tap and add a green to our mana pool. Obviously, mana accelerators, they're Elves. Of course, we're going to be playing 4 of each of these. Then we're playing 4 Nettle Sentinels. It's a 2/2 for 1 green. It doesn't untap during your untap step. Whenever you cast a green spell, you may untap Nettle Sentinel. Just really great card in general, obviously. We're playing a ton of green spells, and it works really well with the card that we have coming up on our next slide here. It's just a staple for elf decks. Also, I forgot to mention this, but pretty much all the elves that you'll see on screen are the cheapest version of the card that is available. So that way, if you're, maybe want to order the deck at all, it makes it a lot easier to find the specific ones that are the cheapest to purchase. So, forgot to mention that. All right. So we're going to hop into the rest of our 1-drops here and our 2-drop. So we have 4 Kyrian Ranger, 2 Heritage Druid, and 2 Dwynen's Elite. So Kyrian Ranger is a 1/1 for 1 green elf. Return a forest you control to its owner's hand. Untap target creature. Activate only once each turn. So I played a lot of Kyrian Ranger back in the day. I really like this card in general. It goes really well with one of our 3-drop creatures that's coming up here. Being able to untap our elves to make a bunch more mana is awesome. Then we're playing 2 Heritage Druids. It's a 1/1 for 1 elf. Tap 3 untapped elves you control. Add 3 green to your mana pool. As much as I would love to have 4 of this in this deck to be able to fit in the $50 price range, we unfortunately were not able to get 4 Heritage Druids in the deck. For those who are looking to upgrade the deck, I definitely would include 4 Heritage Druids. For the $50 purpose, we're only including 2 Heritage Druids. It's the most expensive card in the deck, and there's a reason why it's very good. But we're playing 2, which is still perfectly fine. Then we have 2 Dwynen's Elite. It's a 2/2 for 2 elf. When it enters the battlefield, if you control another elf, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Pretty simple. We get 2 elves out of 1 card. Just a great card in general. We're playing a technically slightly better version of this card that we'll see in the next slide here, but it's still just a great card to be playing. So now we have 4 Elvish Visionaries, 4 Elvish War Masters, and 2 Leafcrown Visionaries. So Elvish Visionary is 1 green and 1 for a 1/1 elf. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Pretty simple. Adds to our elf strategy, draws us cards. It can help us tap for mana, that kind of thing with Heritage Druid. Just a great card to be playing in general. Elvish War Master is a 2/2 for green and 1. Whenever 1 or more other elves enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Then for 5 green, elves you control get +2/+2 and gain death touch until end of turn. This is just a really fantastic card to be playing in general. It's kind of like a pseudo Dwynen's Elite, like every turn in a way. And it also lets us, anthem all of our elves for +2/+2 and death touch. So just a great card to be playing in general. There's a reason we are playing 4 of these. Then we're playing 2 Leafcrown Visionaries. It's a 1/1 for green. Other elves you control get +1/+1. Whenever you cast an elf spell, you may pay 1 green. If you do, draw a card. So, again, kind of the same thing with Heritage Druid. This card is absolutely incredible to be playing. But for budgetary reasons, we were only able to fit 2 Leafcrown Visionaries in here. It's a fantastic card. Once again, if you're looking to upgrade the deck in general, I would definitely go up to 4 Leafcrown Visionaries. This card is just awesome. I mean, antheming our lords and then paying a green and drawing another card whenever we cast an elf spell is just a really good effect. So I highly would suggest going to 4 if you're looking to upgrade the deck as you purchase it. So Next, we have some of our 3-drops and a casual 8-drop. You know, every deck has to have an 8-drop in it. So we're playing 4 Elvish Archdruids, 1 Azuri Renegade Leader, and 1 Edenraze Forerunners. So Elvish Archdruid is a 2/2 for 3 mana. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Then we can tap it and add 1 green for each elf you control. So obviously we're playing a ton of elves. Elvish Archdruid, if left unchecked, can make a ridiculous amount of mana. Obviously really good with Kyrian Ranger because we can like tap it for like 4 or 5 mana, tap the forest, return the forest, untap the Elvish Archdruid, tap it again for even more mana. Just a great card to be playing in general. Then we have 1 Azuri Renegade Leader. It's a 2/2 for 3 legendary elf. We can tap a green to regenerate another target elf. It's really great for if our opponents are trying to remove all of our elves, we can save our other elves in play for a green. Then for 2 green, elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. For those who don't know, that's like an overrun effect. Overrun is essentially that mana cost and your creatures get 3/3 and trample. It's kind of like another Elvish War Master in a way where it lets us make our creatures huge. Obviously a little bit cheaper cost than the 7 mana for the Elvish War Master, but still very good to be playing. A little bit of a, not a pricey card, but you know, when you have a $4 or $5 card in your deck, it does add up when you're at a $50 budget. And as our budget Craterhoof Behemoth, we are playing 1 Edenraze Forerunners. It's a 7/7 for 8 mana with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Trample until end of turn. Just our budget Craterhoof Behemoth, simply put. So it's a really cool card to be playing, and I'm glad that we're able to fit it into our budget. So that's all of our creatures we're playing. We got one more page for the main board. It's pretty simple. We have 4 Winding Ways and 20 forests. So Winding Way is 1 green and 1 sorcery. Choose target creature or land, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all cards of the chosen type revealed this way into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Pretty simple. Most of the time we're going to name creature with this, but occasionally if we do need some lands, you know, we can name land as well. That is an option, but a lot of the time it's just draws us into more creatures. And then we're playing 20 forests, pretty simple. I also did include the very cool Jumpstart elf forest. So this one is like, you can see all the spears on there. I'm assuming that's in Llanowar most likely. But just kind of, I threw a cool forest up there if you want to be really on theme, but obviously any forest will obviously do. So that is our main board here. We're going to hop into the sideboard. It's pretty simple. We only have 2 slides for the sideboard. So we have 3 Tormod's Crypt, 3 Atraxas Fall, and 3 Damping Spheres. So Tormod's Crypt is a 0 mana artifact. Tap, sacrifice Tormod's Crypt, exile target player's graveyard. Pretty simple. It's 0 mana and it blows up our opponent's graveyard. Great against a lot of different graveyard strategies. Then we have 3 Atraxas Fall, brand new card from March of the Machine. 1 green and 1 sorcery. Destroy target artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying. So this has a lot of different reasons to be playing this card. Obviously, destroying artifacts and enchantments is obviously a great effect to have just in general. You know, it really destroys any problematic artifact or enchantment that we have to go against. I was going to say battle because we can destroy a battle. Not that we're going to be running into a lot of battles in Modern, most likely. Just in case they're there, we have the answer. But the main reason we are playing this is we can destroy a creature with flying, which there is a lot of pesky flyers floating around the format right now. We've got Darcy's with Delirium. We have Murktide Regents. Some decks are popping up with Atraxa in it, which is very flavorful if we destroy an Atraxa with Atraxas Fall. It's just a really great flex card. I chose it over Plummet because obviously it is a sorcery, but it has a lot more flexibility. And then we have 3 Damping Spheres. It's a 2 mana artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces a colorless instead of that. And each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn. Pretty simple. It's great against Tron, it's great against Amulet, and it's great against decks that play a lot of spells in one turn, kind of like Storm decks. So just a great card to have in general against those decks. And our last slide here, we're playing 2 Void Mirrors, 2 Wrap Invigors, and 2 Beast Within. So Void Mirror is a 2 mana artifact. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no colored mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Pretty simple. It's great against Tron. It's great against all of the free mana spells like Fury and Solitude, that kind of thing. It counters them, which is great. Then we're playing 2 Rapid Vigors, green and 1 instant, regenerate each creature you control. So I wanted some sort of protection spell in this slot. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to play. I thought about playing Tyvar Stand. Obviously we ended up playing the Rapid Vigor. There was a lot of debate what we should play in this slot. I decided to play Rapid Vigor mostly because it's great, kind of like the mid-late game against cards like Fury and stuff like that. Heroic Intervention is the better card to play in my opinion in this slot, but since Heroic Intervention's like way more than to fit in our budget here, we're playing the budget version, which is Rapid Vigor, which is still a very good card. And then we're playing 2 Beast Withins. It's 2 and 1 green instant. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Pretty simple. It destroys anything. It destroys a Tron land. It destroys a bounce land. It destroys a Murktide Regent. It destroys anything. It destroys anything. So it's just a great flex card to be playing in general. You can do pretty much anything you want with Beast Within. It's just very, very flexible. So that is our deck. I feel like this one was a very quick deck tech overall. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this episode of the $50 series that we've been doing now for a little while. I think this is probably maybe even the strongest $50 deck that we've ever done. And as always, obviously you can see on screen there, the deck list is in the description below. I'll leave the playlist on the screen if you want to check out some of our other deck techs for Pioneer and Modern, and also Oathbreaker. We do have a couple Oathbreaker decks in the playlist as well. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. I'll catch you in the next episode.